Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. Today I'm going to be playing some Fortnite and there's a stream that we're going to having troubles.
Because really, I think we need it.
Here you go.
We need a bigger, and we're going to use technology to do it.
Thanks for
You
the
know,
program code.
for me, Black lives have always, that's not new. It's a matter from the beginning of time. What's new is willingness to talk about it, to the discussion, move things forward, especially today. Doing We the People is going to have of the biggest voices for change in the country, all in the palm of your hand, including Killer Mike, who is just a legend in my mind. Jamel Hill is going to be here. We're also going to hear from Elaine Walteroff. Now, she's an author, but she's already made history. And she's made history because a history of Condé Nast, with all magazines they own and control. Only two people have ever been editor in chief, and she is one of them. So please welcome to this conversation, Elaine Walter. Look, I am so happy that I get to have this conversation, Elaine. I mean, this sister is bad. She's bad. She's a New York best-selling author, award-winning journalist. She's been a judge on Project Runway. I mean, she messed with Michelle Obama. She's just bad. um, I want to tell you about the moment. It's just been such a mix, inspiring protest and kill. Talk to us about your range of emotions this past called this great awakening around justice.
It's been really heavy. It's been really emotional. You know, this is not new. Black people in America. We have been for a long time on these same senseless murders. What about, Philando Castile's murder? In my book, and I read it from the perspective of being one of very few Black people in office at the time, and I was so devastated. It was so hard to get out of bed that morning, let alone proceed as business usual. Like coming into the office today, expecting or anticipating that people might be feeling what I was feeling, just humans, as feeling, thinking human, feeling. Everyone was able to move on like business as usual. It feels so relevant once again now. Thinking, 4 years later, here we are again. But is that all to get off by trying to involved in an investment fight? So I hate that since being in the streets and attending a number of protests, there is something different in the air this time. There are a lot of emotions I think we're all moving through or trying through to get towards the collective action we all need to take. I think we're all wait, but I think we're also empowered that this time has to be different. It has to be different.
You on this. I mean, you really have not inspiration, but from really education to a whole new generation through Teen Vogue. And you were doing it now it's trendy, now but you were doing it when it was trendy. It was kind of shocking to see teens taking on issues. How did you make that? Because you're saying other people now to be afraid, but you were doing it wasn't why, and talk about that.
By speaking just about fashion, we were ignoring the range of interests that were the issues that matter to them in the world, and so we made sure that we were creating more an intersectional feminist focus, and that included fashion and pop culture, but that also spoke to intersectional feminism and social justice issues. Black Lives Matter. You're right that there was no model for success for that. There were a lot of people that were like, Teen Vogue. It was like it got pushback. Folks thought it wasn't our place to go. But the reality is that young people have been at the forefront of social justice issues for generations. It was certainly, I won't say scary, but there was an uncertainty about how it would pan out. But we knew that we had to do the right thing, and we felt like we had to be a part of the right side of history. And I'm very proud to say that we have been, and I'm so proud of the team there that's leading that charge today. You're right in that I think companies are now confronting that same reckoning of what do we mean now? How do we mean more to our community? How do we right size to make sure that we're meeting this moment on the side of history, and that we are better serving our community and our audience, our consumers?
Well, let's talk about that, though, because you can actually give some advice to people who are working at these brands, whether they're at the top or whether they're the intern. These brands are going to have to do some of what you've already done. I mean, when you're a pioneer, that means you've been there, done that. What do these brands need to do to get relevant and to catch up?
So there's 3 steps I would say that any individual brand or corporation can follow. First of all, you have to take inventory of where you are. You can't be a part of the solution if you don't recognize how you are part of the problem.
You better. You say that one more time. Just preach.
I think nobody wants to say they're racist. Nobody wants to raise their hand and say, I haven't done my part. I recognize that I could do better. And so it's, I think, important to just acknowledge what part have you been playing in this, and take inventory. What is the complexion of your newsroom look like? Who's in the room? Who has those board seats? Every level of step 1 is step 2, take ownership where you need to, and then the 3rd step is action. Do better. Commit a part of a more equitable future.
So, for example, Sephora said they're going to give 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned brands. Now, to me, that's a lot. What is that when you talk about taking action? Is that the kind of action, or what kind of action might really meet the moment?
Is there something I can do with my contacts, with my experience, with my skill set? What can I uniquely do? I hope everyone's asking themselves that question. And one of my very close friends, Aurora James, and I were having a conversation when all the protests were kicking off about what we want to see from companies, because we were starting to see all the we stand with the Black community, and Black Lives Matter was starting to come from companies that we're just like, how in the world is this adopted by this corporation when they have 0 Black people in their executive leadership team? Something's not adding up. And so we sat there and we thought about what is our ask to brands? So Aurora James, who is my dear friend, and she is a she was going to say, I want to start something. Story for what became the 15% pledge. Because 15% of the population, nearly 15% of the population is Black. So let's see ourselves represented equally on your shelves. And in 3 weeks, listen, I hope that we can empower Black business owners because they are the most coronavirus. And for anybody who's and wants to get involved with the 15% pledge, I really encourage you to go to the website pledge.org and petition. So help us keep pressure on these companies to continue to fuel money, to put money back in the community. All $1 billion being funneled back. So it is a really big mission, and we're really excited about the impact. We all come together and push brands to do the right thing right now.
Well, listen, for you got a commitment from
what I believe. Must not be breathing the air that I breathe. You know that the way that I bleed, you can breathe. I never police, but yeah, I'm a man. God is the only man I fear.
Atlanta has been the epicenter and hotbed really of a lot of change over the years, and especially nowadays. It's interesting to see how Lil Baby taps into the Atlanta right now and brings what us off the charts. He's in D territory at this point, Bob Dylan territory at this point. It's bigger than Black and White. It's a problem with the whole. change of heart first before anything else changes in law, in politics, government, in the economy. The first change has to be in the human heart. And that's what art does. Art moves you. Music moves you. So proud that little baby is using his platform to move this whole country forward and to move this cause forward. All right, my girl Jamel Hill is going to take over for me. She gets the honor. I'm kind of jealous, but she gets the honor of talking to you and interviewing great Killer Mike. He is an author. He's an actor. He's an activist. He's a musician. He's a living legend. Listen to Killer Mike.
I hope everybody out there has just been taking copious notes, gaining knowledge, taking some screenshots, because there's just been a lot of really nuggets that have been shared, inviting all your friends in, and the kind of conversation in this country I certainly have not seen in my lifetime. And I'm curious to hear thoughts right now, Mike. You know, we've been at this moment many times in our country where adjective drug. And about this issue, we've seen these videos before, but it feels like the world is changing right before our very eyes. I can kind of imagine how our our elders felt during the civil rights movement, to see the world just changing before our eyes. So you're there in Atlanta. Certainly, there was a in there with Rashard Brooks. We've been absorbing everything that's been happening in the country up until this moment. So how are you kind of handling all of this emotionally right now?
Man, as an American, it's hard because it's just it's a growing pain of sorts. You know what I mean? We know that our country is progressing. We know that the other side of that progression that we all are going to be better. I think our community and people who are essentially the center of the cornerstone. And the cornerstone of this nation is the Constitution is important. The founding fathers was important, but free labor allowed to stand. And as descendant of and when I say that, I don't mean anything long. My great grandmother taught me how to sew a button shirt. She was sewing a blanket that we still use in my house. Her mother was born enslaved. So that's how close slavery is. I know how to sew a button because the slave taught that child taught me close. So I think that I'm excited that progress is happening. But I know on the other side of that question, Breonna, Mr. Floyd, brother that was killed here, there are martyrs. And we long martyrs for the progression of this country. And I hope that as we enter into another martyrdom, another black person has died at the hands of the state. I hope that we enter this coming out and it's justice on the front end, not only when coming out, the young people that are in the streets organizing, to organize in the peace like they are in time war, because they're organizing effectively, systemic change in the immediate and not some protracted campaign. And I support that and plot, plan, strategize, and mobilize. As long as you keep doing that, you're going to capitalize off the gains that you're making. And I appreciate it. And I don't mean capitalize. These kids are capitalizing progress, organizers on the ground level have in an instant been able to organize people to progress.
Yeah, it's been a lot of impressive moments. But I think about the progression now, and it's been pretty outstanding. When you think about what has impressed you most about what you're seeing?
What is impressed me that in '92 rioted in Atlanta. There were riots in other cities. There were riots in Los Angeles. But there was a stronghold on it. Local news wouldn't let cities know until that was over. What's impressed me is when we use technology. We have guys as efficient as Hong Kong, but it's coming. You are at a day and age where in an instant people are able to replace. People are able to
Honestly, a little bit too laggy in my streams. But I'm sure the stream thing it's a bit too lag, so. Just gotta put my back right on. Channel, don't forget to subscribe and tap that bell to get notifications so see guys. Oh, wait. Don't forget to like it. Also, stop it. It shot me big because I'm like that. And like, continuation down